and this is going. Channel requires a reconnect. What? All right. Won't connect. Why won't it connect? Destinations. Maybe I can't go live with that. All right, welcome to the, I guess this is our third or fourth one trip around the table. Tonight, we've got our good friend Dylan, otherwise known as Skill and Luck. You've seen him in chat, you've seen him on Craps Chat, and now you're seeing him here live with me in the garage, in the messy garage that is my reality. So I always joke about this. I do a really good job, I think, of hiding the mess from people. Like, you know, the cameras all face the table. It looks like we're in a casino. Like in my downstairs studio, if you ever came to my house, you'd be like, oh my God, that thing is so small. How do you even get it done in that little thing? We do a good job. It's like a lot of smoke and mirrors. Jeff always said it's always smoke and mirrors. But yeah, now you get to see like all my ladder and my garbage. I should probably put the garbage down a little bit so you can't see the garbage in the thing. But yeah, this is my house, right? This is what we do here. But here's the deal, man. We're going to go ahead and I think you know the drill, right? We're going to do 6 shooters. I'm going to shoot around the table. And what I want to do is treat this like a trip around the table. Like you and I are actually at a casino playing together, and I'm going to be over here. I'm just going to shoot from the end. We're going to talk. I'll ask you some questions, whatever. We'll just kind of BS around, and I'm just going to go around the table. And we'll take 6 shooters. We'll see how far we get. It'll be nice and simple, right? No pressure. The only rule I have really is no gambling talk. Like I talk about craps and gambling and money management and all that stuff all day long, every day. And everybody does it all the time. So I'm not doing that tonight. We're going to just talk about randomness. Really want to talk about you. Like, honestly, you and I have met in person, which was surprising. Once. You were taller than Jeff. I was like, oh my God, Skill and Luck, Dylan is huge. Like, how could you be that tall, right? Like, yeah, like I got a picture of you two and like, it's like, I'm like your little stepchild. It's the funniest thing. And and since then I've lost a bunch of weight actually. Since then I've actually took off like 25 pounds, believe it or not. And you look like you've lost a little bit of weight too. I'm guessing that your health issues have, and we'll talk about that some, have worked, got you to do some things, right? You're changing your life a little bit, huh?
I'm trying, yes, sir.
That's good. That's good. That's good. I'm going to switch our screen. We're going to go to our stick right position here. And by the way, what you got in front of here is all the dice I got for the garage. I've got a set of shiny blue dice, a set of dull blue dice. I got greens. I got purples. I got these really cool Diamond Joe dice. I got Craps Nation reds and Craps Nation whites. Do you want to pick what I'm throwing tonight?
Well, let's go with a green and a dark red.
Green and a dark red. Okay, that's interesting. I think those might be different size.
Oh, okay.
They are. That's awesome. Like one's a small one, one's a big one. This is great. That's gonna make it really. That's gonna make my throw is gonna be fantastic tonight. It's gonna be awesome. For everybody who's joining us live, I expect folks will trickle in here as they come because Jeff from Atlanta Craps is in the middle of the last shooter on his D8 table tonight. We are in Crapsee. I'm going to start the Crapsee game up right now. It is a crapless table. I think you got a $1,000 buy-in. It's a $10 table, $500 max bet, 10x odds. So go have fun, bet away. I will try and go as fast as I can to keep your bets active in there. But we got a few people here that are looking forward to playing. So with that said, I'm going to get started. And
are you going to allow rebuys or what?
No rebuys. No, just bet like a normal person, please. Yeah. And I'll let them start. I see all the bets are in. I'm going to halt the betting here, and I'm going to ask you. Our first question is going to be this, and I alluded to it earlier. You had, for those of you who don't know, we've known Skill for a long time, and you had a little incident. But how long ago was your heart incident? About a year ago?
It was yeah, in April
In
last
April
year.
last. Okay. Wow, it's been a long time. It's been a long time. I had one too. I had a heart attack when I was 36, and we all know that our good friend Chiro had heart issues too, and
Yes.
it ultimately paid the price for that. How are you feeling? My first question is, how are you feeling? How are you doing? And what's changed in your life in terms of recovering? And here we go. Dice are out, by the way. First shooter, dice are out. Oh,
What do
we
we
got a
got?
nice come out 7. I got 437 on the come out. It's beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Well,
Yeah.
I am feeling better. I've had to, I'm walking more. Um, so that's my best mode of exercise that they say that, they don't
Mm-hmm.
want anything really, they don't want anything really strenuous, so, it's just more just, low cardiac, things. I know how to do some cardiac exercises. You move your arms and
Mm-hmm.
and there's certain exercises that are low, uh, that are good for you, that don't overexert yourself, and so I still remember, and I'm doing some of those, and I'm watching what I've eaten. I've changed my diet. It's more fish and chicken and salads more than
Oh,
anything.
really?
And
Okay.
I've cut most of the soda out, and I'm drinking flavored water.
Ah,
And
okay.
so
Our, our, our,
that's been a big lifestyle. That's been my lifestyle change, and I feel better for it.
yeah, our point's 8, by the way. And when I had mine, I remember like a couple things, right? Being scared to death, obviously, was one of them, right? The day that it happened, you're freaking out, like, what's going on here? I also remember being really surprised at how fast they made me get up and do stuff. Like
Really.
I had open heart surgery, right? So mine was like crack the chest, pull the heart out, do all the things, right? And
Hmm.
I got home. I'm gonna hit dice right here, by the way. And I got home, and in the hospital, before I left the hospital, I was in the hospital for 5 days. And before I left the hospital, they had me on a treadmill at the hospital, and they wouldn't let me
Right.
leave. Right? They wouldn't let me leave until two things happened. One, there is a 4-3-1. Until I walked the hallway in the where I was staying in the thing there, and down the stairs and back up. I go one the little like the hospital like the little like 10 stairs down and 10 stairs up. I had to do
Hmm.
that before they would let me do anything, and I had to walk on the treadmill for 15 minutes,
Wow.
and then I could leave. Right? It was like they were adamant about you got to get going. And what they told
Right.
me was, which was interesting. I think people should know this, right? You have a heart attack or it's an arrhythmia or whatever it is, that the heart is actually pretty strong, right? I was recovering from everything else, like like the body trauma of it happening, but the heart muscle is like, hey, put me to work. I was shocked by
Hmm.
that. I was really, and like when I went home, they're like, yeah, get outside and walk. I had to walk, I was walking a mile within like a week. Like they told me, and like but you're right, no heavy lifting, like no nothing. I congratulate you for keeping the food going. I wasn't very good at that. I'm still not very good at that. I have not changed my diet. There's a 7. Oh, are you kidding me? A freaking 527. I have not done well with the food. I'll admit it, but I'm okay with the exercise. Did you eat that way
Well,
before, fish and that kind of thing? Was that part of your life before this or no?
it was not a huge part of it, but I do like fish and chicken. But now it's the mainstay now.
Mm-hmm.
But I had stents put in, and I've got several stents put in on both sides, and so there's a big I mean, I had a myocardial infarction, which was one of the worst types of heart attacks that you can
Wow.
have.
Mm-hmm.
For that they told me, and because there's different types and different styles or whatever, but they said I had one of the worst kinds. But they said that my body was also. Um, the heart grew different veins,
Yes.
grew extra veins that helped. The body was trying to heal itself
Mm-hmm.
and from the pressures of just everyday living, and they said that that's not super common. So so
Yeah.
I don't know what, that was kind of weird and amazing,
It's
and a blessing, because it could have been worse. They said it could
is
have been worse. So
isn't that one of those things that makes you go, wow, like mine did the same thing. Like they told, because
okay.
I had 300% blocked arteries and one that was 80,
Hmm.
80 or 90%. And I said, my wife and I, how the hell is he alive? And like, well, your heart made a bunch of new veins and it made its
Right.
own little bypasses. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, wait, first of all, you're gonna tell me that that's random? No. You tell me that's not intelligent design. There's God behind that. Like that a body can do that. That's freaking amazing. It's ridiculous. But I'm glad that you're doing good. And I have a follow up to this too. Now I'm on my next. I'm here at the corner now. Dice are coming out. Leading into that, again, related story here. I was playing a lot of sports, not eating well, but I was pretty active, right? You, as a truck driver, probably not super active. Do you think that that led to
Exactly.
some things? Was that a big
Yes.
deal?
Oh
What are
yes.
truck drivers? Aren't truck drivers like known for like kidney and other kind of issues? Is that more the thing that you hear about? That's what I've always heard. Like
Um.
your insides get shaken up because of all the bouncing. Is that a urban legend?
No. 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 Back in,
Six five
it's
yo.
how do I say this? Back in the
Churro.
day, back about maybe 30 plus years or so, because it's changing now because of the technology, the technology of the truck, and how it's being made and designed, and with all the technology that's going into the seats and whatnot, and the equipment itself of the truck, is making the life of the trucker, less bouncy, so you're not
How is
getting
that?
jarred
Is that
around.
the seat? Is the seat like on a thing that makes it not bounce so much, or what's the secret there?
Yes.
By the way,
Yeah, no,
everybody
it's
else that I see
they're
people showing up. Jeff's here. Say hi, Jeff. Hi,
hey Jeff,
Jeff.
hey, hey.
Jeff is here. We got Brian here. Yeah, Holy Roller here. Dustin One, of course, is here. I would love to talk. And by the way, we're playing Crapsee. Everybody, jump on. We have a crapless table. John's playing crapless. Our point is 11 right now, so get in, get your bets in. Going back, so the chair itself, is it on like springs or something? Like is it, or how do
No,
they
no,
do
no,
that?
it's
How
not
do they
on
make it?
springs. It's not on any springs anymore. It's an air ride, so they've got like air ride support where it's pumped in. The air's pumped into it, and it sustains
Oh no,
where you can have maintain a certain pressure, air pressure. So
interesting.
and you've got lumbar support now, and it's all kind of, that's built in. You can kind of custom tweak the lumbar area of the seat,
Hmm.
to adjust for what's best for you, what makes you comfortable. So, and
So you're
it's,
so it's a pretty smooth ride then. It's not this
oh
whole
yes.
bouncy craziness. It's actually kind of nice.
Yeah, it's very nice now. Yeah, technology's come a
Interesting.
long way. Yeah.
So what do
Life,
they do?
from,
So
yeah,
what do
go
they
ahead.
do in terms of like trucker safety? Like I know, and the reason why I asked this question is that I actually have a lot of my coding students work for a company who make technology for trucks. So I know a little bit about that part of it, not the seat part, but the rest of the part. What's changed in terms of like trucker safety over the last? How long have you been driving? You've been driving for how many years?
Probably close to 20 years.
So what's changed?
So
What's the biggest transformation in the industry? And by the way, I'm coming out again. We had a PSO there on a point of 11. Here's what crapless sucks. I'm going to talk again. Crapless sucks because point of 11 and then a 7, it's a PSO on this table.
yeah,
On
yeah,
any other table, that's 2 wins.
yeah.
Right, sucks. Anyway,
You can't if
Baugh,
you're
Baugh, Baugh 316 says trucker safety equals coffee. That's what he writes in there. That's awesome. His dad was a trucker. His dad was a trucker. That's actually really funny.
yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
talk about some of the safety
coffee
things
and
like
trucking.
laws and that kind of thing.
Yeah, coffee and trucking go hand in hand because that's a stimulant that keeps that allegedly keeps you awake or alert or focused or at least
Hmm.
it's supposed to make you jittery. So
Right.
it's a stimulant. It's a stimulant for sure,
But
but
isn't
it's
that
a legal
like that?
stimulant.
But it's so bad for you. Like all that
Yeah,
caffeine and sitting still is not good,
yeah.
right? So are there like do you have to get out every so often? Like walk? Like what's the like? Or they just not care? You guys just I know it used to be you could drive for 20 hours. How is it now? That's a 415 point, by the way. 415.
There's mandatory breaks, and then your body will force you to take a break after if you keep pushing. So like every 3 or 4 hours, your body needs to go to the restroom or what have you, or should, and you can that's perfectly fine, but
Hmm.
you get a 30-minute break or whatever on top of your 15-minute different breaks as well. So it's all calculated, and
Keeping
put in
it.
there, and you manage
Well,
and you're the captain of your ship, driving,
hmm.
and so it's still quote unquote your responsibility. You're responsible for yourself and for the safety of you and everybody around you, and getting the load there in a timely manner and without screwing up. So you have to be wise and budget your time
Hmm.
and make time, and make those stops. So
Yeah.
it's
Well, I've got
it's a
I
whole
say
different mindset. It's a different
it's got
mindset.
to be. It used to be just go go go. Now it's different. And I got like I said, I got students that work at a company called Zonar. A lot of them work there, and Zonar makes everybody should know this, right? Zonar is a cool company. They make the software that the trucks now won't even start unless you go through a full inspection. Like you have to like use this like a almost like an iPad kind of thing where it inspects the tire pressure and the exhaust and all the different parts of the truck, and the truck won't start until you've signed off on everything. And if you fake it
Uh,
and you make the truck start and something fails, it's on the driver. So it's a little bit of
right.
shared responsibility, which is kind of cool. Um, and they're
Well,
tracking all the. It's interesting. Yeah.
it's always been that way. I mean, it's always the driver's fault if they're not
Ah,
doing a
628.
pre-trip or post-trip inspection, which is
Yep.
demanded, then that falls back
Yep.
on the driver. Period.
Yeah. Well,
So
now it's
that's
computerized.
never
Like,
changed.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
now
it's
the
all
computers
computerized.
it's tied into the engine now, and the things won't even start, and it's cool stuff. All right, we're on a new shooter here.
So so
I'm gonna switch gears with you, so to speak. You have something else you want to add to that?
well, you want to talk about the technology just like real quick. Some of the
Sure,
things
go
that
for it.
are is the satellite. It's not paper logs. It's all done via satellite.
That's right.
That's in the truck and bouncing off stuff. Then that you can. It's all digitized. It's not. The paper logs are
Aces.
a thing of history. And then the other piece of technology that's really helped, I feel, is that they've got rollover control where they have some trucks have the new stability built into them. So when the load shifts or what have you, or you take a curve too tight, it counterbalances somehow, and it'll give you an alarm to slow down, and it will slow down also, and it kind of
Hmm.
it has a little of its own mindset. And then the other third and final thing is that it's got lane changing, or when you get out of your lane, it's got lane sensors of the white strips and the yellow strips and whatever. And if
Yeah.
you are not paying attention, and the truck is not wide, I mean, it's too wide,
Oh,
it's not
7 up.
narrow. So the lane there, you don't have much room, in when you maintain your lane. So if you cross
Sure.
over and drift over into the thing, it'll buzz, and it'll buzz on whatever side that you've drifted to. So that's one of the new safety systems that the new trucks have. So and
So and
that's
it's not, so
really
it's
not,
not
and that
full.
is nice.
So it's not a full self drive, but it's definitely a system where it's gonna like a driver alert kind of thing, which is kind of cool.
Exactly.
Kind of cool. All right. Well, I've now PSO'd 3 times in a row. I'm not sure if you're paying attention or not, but I'm really sucking tonight. I think it's these dice. I think the fact that I've got 2 different sized dice is killing me, but it's okay. We're on the other side of the table. I'm going to switch gears with you a little bit and ask you this question. And I know you're not a huge sports fan, but you do follow or did follow wrestling as a kid, which is awesome, I think.
Yes.
So here's the question, and we can talk wrestling if you want to. I don't know jack about wrestling. I just know some of the famous names. I know nothing about it. My wife was a big wrestling fan, but here's the question. I asked this of Ken last week, and I want to ask you the same question. If you could go to any event, now I use sports with Ken, but for you it might be wrestling. You could be anything. You could go like box seats to you pick the event, if it's a concert or whatever it would be, and you're in box seats, who would you want to sit with? Like somebody famous, dead or alive, and talk to. Who do you want to spend that 2-3 hours with and talk to, and why? And what's the event, and who are you with? And meanwhile, I'm going to get a new point here. If I can make this roll last more than 2, I'll be happy.
The person I'd want to spend to be in my box seat with me would be Jim Cornette. He is a famous manager. He started in wrestling as a photographer, and has went through all the different things. He was an owner of the Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Created that. It was a flop, and it's no more. But he tried. He had his fingers into everything. So he was a manager. He knows everything, and he's funny. He's witty, and he's very knowledgeable. So that's one of the things. So I would love to sit by Jim Cornette and just listen to him talk and give his 2 cents on everything, and. And he's got his own podcast now. So it's
Oh, really?
yeah, Jim Cornette he's really cool. So that
Yeah.
would be the person
The
I'd want
wrestling
to do that.
the wrestling people have this like what's the word I'm looking for? They're like serial marketers, aren't they? Like there's of all the sports, of all like the marketing genius behind professional wrestling to me is unparalleled by any
Oh
other
yeah,
sport. I mean, it's to me, it's crazy because people are so into it. You know
right,
what I mean? And my wife and I were talking about this last night. Like we all know that it's staged, right? They're not really hitting each other with chairs or whatever, right? We know that, but
right.
you can watch on TV today, and there's grown
Yep,
ass men in the crowds going bonkers,
yep,
right? And they started their own football league. Like, how
yep.
on earth? Like, you're a part. How do they do it? Like, what's the secret to the wrestling? Why is that even still a thing? How is it still popular? And I'm just curious from somebody who's a fan. What is it that makes that such
It's an
an amazing
escape.
thing?
It's an
Ooh, aces
escape.
again. Make some money. Go make some
It's
money.
an
Go make
escape.
some money on a crapless table. It's an escape. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's a soap opera on steroids. It's a male soap opera that has good guys, has bad guys, that you can root for, and just let your hair, you know, hang back, and you can get into it. You root for the good guy, you boo the bad guy, whether that be and the good guys and the bad guys change. And I'm not just talking baby faces versus heels. Stone Cold Steve Austin was, turned, as it was a good bad guy. So
Mm-hmm.
everybody has their own flavor and people that they like, and people, and these wrestlers have their own personalities. From Hogan to The Rock to Stone
Oh,
Cold to
sure.
Ric
Sure.
Flair to Ric Flair. They all have their unique style and
Mm-hmm.
presentation that draws you in, and that's part of it, is their charisma, and they talk you in, and they blur the lines of what is quote
5.
unquote quote believable versus bending reality, where it's the you know uh not real, and versus
Mm-hmm.
real. and they blur that line really well,
I,
and that's what they do, you know, and that's the story in the soap opera, and it's always ongoing. It never ends. You know, there's no, like in football you have the Super Bowl, in wrestling you have
yeah,
um WrestleMania, and you have the Royal
but there's a
Rumble,
bunch of those.
but it
Yeah,
never really has an off season, so
that's
there's
interesting.
always something, always something going. And so
Hmm.
it never ends. And so that soap opera and the storylines, one weaves into another, weaves into another, weaves into another. And even if this your favorite wrestler either retires or fades out or gets fired or what have you, that storyline will keep you still interested, even though the characters change, you know. And so it's just, and once you get into it, it's like if you like comic books or any type of fiction, that is action packed, that you put your, it's not real, but you still go to the movies to be engrossed in,
Such a cool way to say that. That's a great way to
like
put that. By
Captain.
the way, the chat is fired up right now. I got Kevin Hart, I got the Von Erichs, I got
Yeah, Von Erichs, yeah, all
Brett.
that.
Yeah, Brett. There's Bruno Sammartino. I remember Bruno
Yeah,
Sammartino and the Iron Sheik. I remember those guys.
yeah.
That's
Harley
funny.
Race.
That is.
Yeah.
Jeff left and came back. He missed all the good stuff. He missed the whole talk about the wrestling. Cajun Craps. Wrestling died for me when it went from national or regional to nationwide, which is interesting. I remember in
Well,
my hometown of Cape May, like
yeah.
wrestling, they'd have the local wrestling like in like the convention center, like 500 people. It was very
Yeah,
small.
they did it in high schools. They'll do it in high schools and stuff. Well, back in the 80s and
Mhm.
stuff, these different regionals and small regionals they call them indies now. The independents,
Hmm.
the different little mom and pop wrestling leagues or whatever.
Yeah.
They would, the VFW or a high school or anything, any type of little civic center that they
Oh,
could
there's
get
R7.
their hands in, and sell out, and it's all part of, marketing,
Hmm.
and it's all good, as long as you have a good hook, and you have decent marketing that for any promotion, it'll do well, and people love it. People love it, and it's
They
not hard.
they it,
It's not hard to get invested into it.
they love it. It's funny. A
It's
funny story. When I was teaching, one of my students, he used to call me. Okay, now I just lost it. Lost my train of thought now. Not Ric Flair. Who's the guy you just said? Stone Cold Steve Austin. He used to call me
okay.
Stone Cold, right? Because I'm bald and have right. And back then I was a little
Gotcha.
muscular, and he was
Gotcha.
from behind. He goes Stone Cold. What we learned today, that's what he like. So that was funny stuff. All right, I'm going to move on. I sevened out again. That was actually not a terrible roll that time. I'm going to the left hook over here. Now, here's my political question. You ready for this one?
Sure.
Everybody buckle up. Here we go. This is perfect for you.
Seatbelt.
This question, seatbelt time. This is a perfect question for you because I have labeled you as a thinker, have I not? On the craps
Yes, sir.
table, there's nobody is a thinker like Skill and Luck is a thinker, right? You're tinkering everything. You weigh everything out to like the perfect pitch, which I
Yes.
think is a beautiful thing to watch you think. Now, here's the political question, and I want you to put yourself President Dylan
Oh
for
boy.
one day, right? You got one day. You're a President Dylan for one day, okay? So you can't get a whole lot done, but you can get one thing done. And whatever you decide to do, you've got the backing of Congress. They're going to take care of you. They're going to give you the funding for it. You're not going to have this political fight over it. What is the issue that you're going to solve? And specifically, I want to get into like, how are you going to address it? Because there's, I want to solve homelessness. Okay, there's a million facets to that. And somebody who's a thinker like you, I'm sure, can put together a plan. So what is your issue? What is your solution? And let's hope I can go more than one roll so I can hear your whole answer.
Wow,
Yeah.
man, that is deep and
Hmm.
like, whew. um, honestly, probably the most important thing would probably be getting us off fossil fuels and energy efficient, reliant in all different forms, not just totally reliant on solar or nuclear or wind. I think that we need to to get invest in desalinating the ocean,
Mm.
um, and get some energy coming through that way. And when we desalinate the water, that gets us free water, drinking water that we can use, and we could even use that as a resource for trading for other countries, because there's not a lot. Our drinking water for the world only is limited, and so whoever
Hmm.
can come up with resources that are valuable, that are not going to destroy or do us harm in using them, like fossil fuels and stuff. I think that's the answer. And I would have people anywhere from like Neil deGrasse Tyson, come on
Yeah.
and give their two cents, and a lot of different scientists and whatnot that will really know to point us in the right direction. And it just really takes money and a will to really have that. And it's more it is an achievable goal to that I feel that to make us completely energy independent, and where we could you know be back. I don't want to say make America great again, but I do want to say that. But I don't want you
Right.
to think. I don't want you thinking that I'm leaning. I don't want that to be misleading.
Sure. Sure.
Because America was, after World War II, America was it, period.
Hmm.
And we were the only superpower, and we need to, with America being the way it is, with all of its different, vast resources and whatnot. We can do that again, if we have our mindset,
Yeah.
and
I
put
mean,
things right back on, and make the proper decisions of stuff. And I think being energy dependent in a good way, and being
yeah.
so energy efficient that we can make that available and sell that to the world as well, that will only be a win-win.
Hmm.
So that's
So is
that's
your
that's what I'm.
well? I'm going to agree with you on one thing. I think
Okay.
America, without using MAGA as a thing, right? America is a great country. We are the best country, I think, right?
Oh
Um,
yes.
our problems aside, right? We're awesome, and I think we can be leaders. We have the money to do it. Is your is your beef with fossil fuels? Is it a pollution thing, or is it a renewable thing because there's a limited supply? Is like what's of those two things? What is your biggest concern with it?
It's both. It's
Uh oh. Oh,
It's
good throw.
both, honestly. It's it pollutes. We know about the pollution.
Hmm.
That's not a debate, or shouldn't be. And there's limited amounts of it as well. And so,
Hmm.
you know, we can do better. I mean,
Yeah.
and the oil industry knows that, and I feel that they have to be pushed to, and we have to push to make what the public really wants, and what's best for the public as well.
Hmm.
Being, if I was president, and so for a day, or king for a day, or whatever you want to
What's the
call it.
first thing? What's the first thing we do then? Because here's the thing. You've got desalinization is one plan, right? And I think if I look at the system, right? fossil fuels are a limited resource. They're going to eventually, there's not going to be
Yes,
anymore. You can't frack forever. It's going to be gone at some point, right? So water
exactly.
is there. And the nice thing about water, wind and solar are iffy because they come and they go. Water's here. And we do live in a closed system. For the most part, this is a closed system. So water that evaporates comes back down, and it's kind of it'll be an evergreen sort of a thing, which I like. Cost of that is incredibly high, right?
Mhm.
And I'll tell you, your thoughts on water, as I throw the dice here, are this. I don't know, have you been overseas yet in your life? Have you had the fortune to travel overseas?
Just to Alaska, but that's not overseas. No.
Now, so I spent a few months in Jordan in the Middle East, right? And I swam the Dead Sea, which, by the way, that water is, you talk about salty, holy crap. But over there, water, it doesn't come out of the faucet like over here. You know what I mean? And I know we have people in our audience who have been overseas and can relate to, and some have lived there and can relate to this. We take it for such granted that we have water
Right.
to drink and take a shower with, that
Yeah.
the system can be redesigned, and the desalinization process can not only provide potentially fuel, but also, like you're saying, resources for everybody if we can figure out a way to harness it. I think
Exactly.
the perfect fuel system to me has always been, and somebody will do it. I saw a thing on YouTube. You may have seen this yourself. The interview with the guy from Toyota. Have you seen this thing where Toyota's like
Toyota.
basically given, yeah, I don't know if he's head of engineering or whatever he is, but he's like, Toyota's giving the middle finger to the whole electric car thing. They're like, we're not doing
Mhm.
it. We did it with the Prius. It was nice. That's not the future. They're going full fuel cell, hydrogen cell. But what they're really working on is a closed system on the car. And this is going to be pretty cool if they can pull this off. And the guy explained it well. And as a driver, I think you'd be interested in hearing this, right? They're perfecting a closed system in a car where you basically fill the car up once, and the car perpetuates itself. Like its exhaust becomes fuel, and it kind of keeps on rolling through. And
Hmm.
it's a perpetual motion engine kind of a thing, which they think they can solve with water, where any exhaust at all would be water vapor, and the input to the engine is also water. So the car runs on water. It converts it somehow to energy. The output of that is steam, which comes back into the engine again. That's what Toyota's working on, which is super fascinating,
Okay.
especially when you think about pulling water out of the ocean somehow. And I just think we're 100 years away from that probably, right? But so skill and luck, your
Oh,
first day
more
as
than that.
president, by the way. Yeah, I mean, but that's the future, I think, right? So your first thing is you're all about the energy. And as a driver, that's interesting because this is your life, right? You're dealing with the fuel industry all the time. So what's the first day? You're gonna bring Neil deGrasse Tyson in? And by the way, that's a guy
Yeah.
I would love to sit next to at a baseball game. You want to talk about having a great time at a baseball game? Sit next to that dude. I can watch him
Yeah.
forever. And
Yeah.
that man, he's great. He's fantastic. But are you bringing him in? And what else are you doing to your one day as president, man? You got to solve this whole problem.
Well,
Like you would solve the Iron Cross. Like treat it like it's the Iron Cross.
yeah. Well, I mean, you have to bring in different engineers from different fields.
Ah, there's our
Uh,
seven. Damn it. Damn, that was a good
but
throw
you have
too.
to bring in different engineers from different
Hmm.
fields, and let them talk. You have to have a cabinet of smart people that really, that have thought about these things, but need funding to pull it off. So
Hmm.
I mean, I think we have enough wise people out here to help solve some of these problems. We just have to listen and understand,
Yeah.
and put money to it. Put the backing to it. And if it's going to pay off, in the long run, or even in a mid run, then it's worth it, because I just think back to, immediately the first thing that comes back to mind is, JFK, and the
Hmm.
fight with the Russians of going to the moon. We don't do these things because they're easy. We do them because they're hard. You know,
Yeah. Did we go to the
and
moon? Did we go to the moon?
Pardon?
Did we go to the moon?
Yes, yes, we did.
I have to ask. So, by the way, I'm going to bring some chat up here. You probably can't see this stuff, but John Pond says this: Neil deGrasse Tyson is an ego-fueled scientist. Which, granted, I'll give you that. Give me Michio Kaku instead. He was on actually Fox tonight. I watched him tonight. That guy's great too. He's fantastic. He's the
I know him.
You know who I'm talking. He's great.
Yeah,
And a lot of
there's a
people
few.
are into this. Yeah. Cajun Crab says the ocean controls the environment. As the bergs melt, the salinity drops, raises the freezing point, thus breaking the heat. It's a whole thing, right? People like,
Yep, it's a
right?
big
It's
cycle.
this
Yeah,
totally, right? Jeremy says way too much money to lose. Tom Marco says fresh water is 1% of the planet's water, and we are blessed, and we certainly are. I'll tell you what, when I was in Jordan, and this is no lie, you couldn't take a shower and you couldn't drink the water out of the sink. Like you took a shower, but the water it stunk like you wouldn't believe. They would bring water to our apartment building in a dump truck. And the guys would get out of the truck, they would open up this big thing, and they would dump the water into a big tank in the back of this apartment building. That was our water. And it was disgusting. Like I didn't take a shower. I took a shower, but like literally like I had this spray soap that I had gotten. And you spray yourself, you do all this, hop in the shower just to rinse the soap off, and you're out. Like a 30-second shower. And you brush your teeth and you shave with bottled water. And you want to talk about pollution? Since you can't drink the water, the entire population of the Middle East is drinking bottled water. There's billions of bottles of water, empty water bottles, everywhere, because they don't have fresh water. I think this problem that you're getting into, I think, is an interesting one, and it goes further reaching than just making a fuel system work. I think it's actually pretty good stuff, man. All right, last shooter. I'm on the last shooter. I'll open the floor here. I'm gonna ask you about your favorite conspiracy theory. Okay, we're gonna end on a conspiracy theory. We've lightly touched. I always talk aliens because I love it. There's the flat Earth thing. There is JFK. Was he assassinated? Did we go to the moon or not? Why don't you jump in here and give me your favorite conspiracy theory that you think is ridiculous or that you actually kind of buy into? I think everybody buys into something to some degree. So you know me, I'm an aliens guy, but what is yours? Here I go, coming out here. Last spot of the night, last shooter. Here we go. That's going to be a 6, it looks like, a 4-2.
There's two that just jump out. You've already mentioned the flat Earth, which is super ridiculously funny. I mean, it's just hilarious.
Well, what's funny about the flat Earth is the flat Earth people. Like, have you ever watched flat Earth YouTube? Like, and I challenge you, everybody, go to YouTube, put flat Earth on, and just watch and let it go on autoplay. Literally, like it's like a great Saturday night. It is so fantastic to watch these guys just go in. I actually asked Ken last night, I'm like, pretend like you believed in it. Can you try and sell me on it? He's like, I can't do it.
No, absolutely not. I mean, it makes. I mean, we have pictures of all the different. We have different pictures of all the different planets. Mercury,
Ace Deuce,
Mercury, Venus, the Earth. Well, the Earth allegedly, Mars. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, and all of them are what spherical. So. Having one flat plane out there that's a rock or that's something flat is just completely inconceivable.
Well, to me, like if you're a flat Earth person, you have to also believe that we're like in a terrarium and somebody's experimenting on us. Like if to go with flat Earth, it's not just flat Earth. It's like it's a whole thing. It goes beyond. Okay, if we're in a flat Earth, why? And who's controlling this thing, right? And it's like that takes you into a whole different world.
That scares me. That scares me because that will leapfrog into, are we in a simulation?
It's a 3-2-5. Yes. Are we in a simulation?
So that's what freaks me out. There's scientists and stuff that are leaning towards that now. And it's like
Hmm.
that just I that's one thing I don't want to believe, but
Yeah.
I don't have enough information. Um, I haven't done, you know, I don't, I wouldn't think so. Um, but there's arguments for, there's good, I've heard good arguments for the simulation thing, and that
What's a
boggles
good
my
argument
mind.
for it? Give me one. Give me a good argument.
Well,
I don't understand the whole simulation thing.
they say it's like a computer game a computer game is in a computer game, and so
So like we're like The Sims or something. That's weird.
yeah, yeah, and that whenever the resources that is that
Chiro.
they don't have to do everything. um they only have to have the resources that do things that are up close. They can fade away the pixels of the far away buildings and or whatever that's
Hmm.
far away from you. That saves the resourcing computing power of the simulation.
Sure.
So that's how they get it, that's how they spin it. And but or at least that's how I've heard them spin it, but
So what is
it's
AI
just,
then? So our current AI state, is that like the bot that they're running inside the simulation to make shit happen for us, or what? I mean, it's
I can't, I don't know. I can't tie one, I can't tie one to the other. I don't
oh
think
no.
they're related. I don't think they're related. I just, they're, from what I can understand of the simulation thing, is that, it's some type of, you know, being like, AKA God, that is just watching, and they've got different, they're just wanting to see, different things. And if you and when this God has created this universe slash simulation, then uh there's things that are in it that also want a simulate, to see if they can do the same thing. So it's like it creates that crazy loop, or what have you.
It
I
seems.
don't really know how to, I'm really not
I,
good at explaining that, but that's what I've heard. That's
I mean,
a
I'm with
weird
you.
type of spin,
I do
so
not want
I
that to be the case. I
I don't
pray to
either.
God that ain't. I mean, God, if that's what's going on, that's awful,
Right, exactly. So
right?
I choose not to believe that. So
I choose not to believe that too. God, if we're in a simulation, that would be the worst thing. There's our 527. Boy, what an awful throwing night tonight was. We had a good conversation, but my throwing was awful. Five. That's another like. Is that a PSO? That shoot. That's actually 6 shots for the shoot. That's not terrible. My SRR tonight, by the way, was 4.3. Is that good?
mm,
No, it's 3.86. My SRR was 3.86 tonight. Is that good?
I don't
That's
think
not
so.
good. That's half of what it should be.
Yeah, I should be like around a 6.
Yeah, it was a 3.86 tonight. Terrible stuff. Again, chat's great tonight though. We have a lot of good people. Now everybody's, they're talking about RFK. John Ponce, we live in a simulation. How else do you explain deja vu and the Mandela effect?
Yeah,
Um,
see,
yeah, yeah. I mean,
those are all those are different little mini spins that different
for sure.
people, that put their stuff on it. Yeah. So, but one other thing I'd like to talk about real quick, if I was the
Go for
president,
it. Yeah.
I thought of one last thing, is that if I had unlimited resources, and if I won the lot, if I won this, the biggest lottery ever, I would buy um, a zone of like 5 miles of the Rocky Mountains, from wherever the Rocky Mountains stretch, that's going from straight east to straight west. And then what I would do is I would bulldoze that son of a gun down to cloud level, or and dynamite it, or whatever the hell whatever it is
Really?
that are that are for engineers. And then I would invest as much as I had left over In the land that is like in that was on the east side of it, because what I'm thinking is that if we blew a 5 mile strip wide, um and leveled that just 5 miles of the total complete Rocky Mountains from east to west, that to a certain level, then that would allow the clouds from the ocean to come through.
Oh, okay. I see. So you're going to
See,
stop the lake effect clouds, right? To stop that barrier. It's interesting.
yes, and that will
That is interesting.
that rain will come and transpire and will turn
Hmm.
all of Kansas and
Yeah.
Nebraska and all in Colorado, and it will make those states more fertile, because people
Hmm.
don't there's less water there in those
Yeah.
areas. And so, and like in Texas, or north of Texas,
Sure.
those different Arizona and all that crap. But but I don't know if I'm not for sure if 5 miles would do it. I would think so. I would think, if you had
Hmm.
a gap of 5 miles where the cloud, where you would blow it
Where it
down
could,
to
yeah,
where the clouds could just get
that,
over it.
that is
And so,
interesting. That's
and then the
actual
states
climate
that are,
change. Yep.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And
So it's
so,
funny because I've
and
asked, it's funny. I've asked people this. I've asked people who are super into climate change, right? Like, okay, given an unlimited amount of money, you couldn't
yep,
change the climate. You could not raise the temperature. And also you couldn't lower the temperature, like with all the money in the world.
yep,
Like, what would you actually do? And they're like, oh, well, we put,
yep,
reflectors in space to kind of get the solar ray, whatever. This is actually a thing. This is actually interesting. Like changing the weather pattern to bring weather
yep,
in would change
yep,
everything. That's actually a
yep.
really, see, this is the thing. You spent way too much time behind that wheel. You're behind the wheel of this truck and you got way too many hours to burn and you're thinking of shit like that. That's fantastic, dude. That is so awesome. I love that theory. It's
Yeah,
just
I
awesome.
believe that would work, because
That is
I think it
awesome.
would add. I think it would add to it would green up all of that, all of the
Hmm.
west of the Mississippi,
Yeah.
all of the states that are up towards that of the spread of that 5 mile center, that because the clouds would come
Hmm.
through and still burst apart. And so, it would create a huge, uh, rainfall for those states, and that will encourage more people to move west, past the Mississippi,
Yeah.
and that will just, that'll just make that ground more fertile for farming, for agriculture and everything, and it's just a win-win.
That is,
And I think that it'd be a fascinating project
it
to
is.
do, that would benefit the United States, beyond measure. And it's just a 5 miles. I
That's
don't
so
even
interesting.
know.
Like I
I
said,
don't even know the
like,
research. I don't know if it would take a mile or 5 miles, or
I mean,
I don't know really what
that's
the
a
thing would
question
be.
I've
But
never considered. It's an outcome I've never considered before. It's interesting. And like I said, it's like that is like your dark cross of being the president. That's like the Iron Cross from the don't. Right? That 100%. This is why I knew you'd be a great guest, right? Where else, by the way, can you get professional wrestling, living in a simulation, fixing the climate, truck driving all in the same night? Like how else, right? What else would you rather do on a Thursday night to learn all that stuff? Dylan, thanks for being here. That was a fun trip around the table. I really appreciate it, man.
thank you.
You're the guy. Everybody in chat, you all are fantastic and awesome. We had, I think, 40 people watching tonight, which is a record for the show. The show really, got off to a slow start, and we had a good crowd tonight. So this is great, man. Thanks for being here. Thanks everybody for watching. And
We love Jeff. We love Jeff.
we do love Jeff. I had to start during a show, which I apologize for, but everybody here is great. You guys, this is the greatest community on YouTube, for sure. Love y'all. Thanks, Don. I'll see you later.
Thank you.
Yep.